Greetings everybody, welcome to G4G on YouTube. Today we're going to do a two-topic video over here. The first thing that I need to get out in terms of a topic is going to be Thursday on the channel. It's now Monday night going into Tuesday morning, so we've just got a couple days. But Thursday night, big hype for you guys. We are going to have a Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux reveal. I can't tell you any more than that because I don't want to give away what it is or even hint at it, but I just want to tell you guys that you're going to see some original works during this particular reveal. We're also going to do another Q&A. We're going to see if we can do this live. A little bit different from the last time where I had pre-done questions and answers. We're going to try and go a little more live with a particular division or two within the Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux project. Again, keeping it close to wraps. Last time it was the writers. You can probably figure out where we're going from here. But, again, major hype for Thursday night this first week of April. This is not going to be April Fool's in any way, shape, or form. This is going to be real stuff. It's going to be original, and it's going to be things you have never seen before, and it'll show you some of the progress for Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux. I've seen it. I cannot wait to tell you guys about it because it is it's great. It almost will bring a tear to your eyes to see the quality of what we're going to show you Thursday night, and I think it'll, if anybody's been a little stressed whether or not Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux is going to be good, can it live up to the legacy of the original version, let me tell you these things that we're going to show you on Thursday, and I'm speaking generically because I have to without giving stuff away. I think you're going to like it. So the next part of this video is going to be how I have ranked the Marvel games that I have played, mobile Marvel games that I've played since the beginning. Now, obviously, Marvel Avengers Alliance was my first, and things proceeded from there. So I'm going to rank them from least favorite to most favorite at the end. And these are simply going to be the Marvel games that I've played. Most of them are going to be mobile. I could throw Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 in there on the Switch. I kind of don't want to because that's more AAA, to quote Jim Sterling, triple I, than the others that I want to talk about in this list. And that's a different category because otherwise then, you know, you could throw in the Spider-Man game on the PlayStation 4 and everything. But this is more smaller budget Marvel games. So here we go. The first one, thereby being the absolute bottom of the list, Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics. And that right there is a perfect example why fuck this game. I'm so glad it's dead. I'm glad to have found out when it was actually dying that it was going to die. I couldn't pull the plug on this piece of shit fast enough. I mean, there wasn't even a choice. This is like, hey, if you could go back in time and Hitler was on a respirator, it done. Like, I hated this game. And that is saying a lot. And one of the reasons why is what you see right there on the screen. I couldn't have planned this more perfectly if I tried. Is my base on fire. Because if you never tried Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics, or MAAR, as I used to call it back in the day, and look at this, the world is on fire all around me over here, which is actually rather appropriate for right now here in 2020, where our immune systems are on fire. But Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics, as you can see here, was out in 2014, so it's about 2 years after Marvel Avengers Alliance started. And Tactics was another Facebook game by Playdom. And Playdom, I'm sorry guys, if any of you are listening to this, I don't mean to dunk on you I just want to dunk on the game because the game was a steaming pile of clown fuckery. Just hated this game. It was a little laggy in the browser, which, you kind of could expect for the machines of the day and flash based and everything, but like you bought abilities and it just the PvP that you saw there at the beginning of the video with my base being on fire, that was really the worst of it. It plays out a little bit like XCOM, as you can kind of see on the screen over here. It's sort of like a Final Fantasy Tactics, but in a lot of ways it also is very reminiscent of XCOM. It was super tied into Marvel Avengers Alliance. It used a lot of the same art, the same characters, the same abilities. There's a crash on the screen over there. It was garbage, and that forced PvP was completely heinous. The fact that your base could be destroyed simply by existing in the world was ridiculous. Now, what was kind of popular at the time in a lot of free-to-play games was this thing where you were in the newbie zone and then you hit a certain level and you're kicked out of the nest into the giant shit pit. And that's exactly what happened. Once you got to a certain level, your base was ripe for the picking whether you attacked or not. Unlike, say, World of Warcraft, where you could do a PvE server or a PvP server or a shard, as some people would reference it if they were like an Ultima Online player, and maybe even Final Fantasy, I think, calls it shards. I don't remember. I don't play it, but let's see. As soon as these pictures zoom in, I think... Oh, okay. Well, you saw it earlier in the video. Like, one of the guns that was available over there was a gun straight out of Marvel Avengers Alliance. I think it was the same graphics as the Pew Laser or whatever. But, I mean, look at all these red bases on fire around me and everything. And that's because all it took was one whale, one cash cow, one established character in your shard or vicinity that would just farm you like cutting grass in the middle of the summer. I mean, look at this. I mean, that was just what my base went through over there. And I think the guy that I'm looking at on screen right now is the guy who is the major problem. It was this Filipino guy who got really established during the beta, even more than some people who cheesed the beta like myself and got in early. And the guy was a dick. Like, if you sat there and said, like, can you just chill out a little bit and, like, let me build up my base or whatever, like a lot of people did, and he literally said, why? You are cows for my farming, in the broken English that he had. So, yeah. Fuck Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics. That is why it is the lowest on the list. Up next on the list would be Marvel Contest of Champions, which I don't have footage for because I've never recorded the game. It's kind of Street Fighter. I mean, Marvel Contest of Champions may lead to good things now with the new Kabam game that's coming out from them. That's going to be in the same realm. That's going to have that futuristic Tony Stark hologram thing and the Hulk that looks like Thrall. I think it's Marvel Realm of Champions, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's cool that Marvel Contest of Champions is going to be the granddaddy of this when it comes out, but I slightly less hate than Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics. I hate Contest of Champions. It was completely out of my playing sphere for almost a year. I had upgraded my main computer, so my old computer went to my secondary slot, which displaced the laptop that I had there. That laptop was the only device that had an Android emulator that was running Contest of Champions. It had already been removed from every iOS and Android device that I had, and that was the last thing left. I now go into it and click on my stuff daily, and it seems to be more generous with crystals, but I've never seen a game where your real life currency gives you so little and it celebrates duplicates like it's the 4th of July. You have a 4-star Hulk and you pull a 2-star Hulk out of a crystal that maybe even you paid for, and the game's like, yay, let me lick your balls, here's a 2-star Hulk, do you want me to light off some fireworks now? And you're depressed and angry that you wasted game credits and got a 2-star Hulk, and the game's like, yay. I want yay when I pull a 4 or 5-star character from somebody I've never had before. So, Contest of Champions is just slightly ahead of Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics. Now, up next is Marvel Super War, which is the MOBA that is not global yet. It is in some of the Far Eastern regions, but it's not global, but you can get it now if you know how to sideload an APK. And here's footage of me looking at the beta way back. The game looks a little bit different now. This is what it looked like in the beginning of January when it was a temporary beta. It's playable now, region specific. It's not region locked, but it's region specific now. The only reason I rank it so low is because it's a MOBA, and it's a more classic style MOBA than, say, Heroes of the Storm, which kind of dumbed things down a little bit. That's the way I prefer it, is Heroes of the Storm. You can call me a newbie if you're a League of Legends player, or Heroes and New Earth player, or Dota player, that's fine. I kind of like picking my character and going, and not having to worry about in-match currencies and buy the boots of this and the dagger of this and the giant pink dildo of that. I just want to play and support things and kill things. That's why I never really got into League of Legends or Dota. So I haven't really played this yet because I don't like playing it with the keyboard controls on BlueStacks. I do have it on a phone, and I do log into it daily to collect rewards. I just really need to spend time actually playing it with touch controls the way that it's intended. But it does look like it's got a lot of characters, and as you saw, there was a cloak and dagger there, which is awesome. There was a pixelated arcade Groot. They got Quicksilver. They have a very classic representation of Heimdall, or at least they did at this point. They're going to have skins. They have events going on right now. There's like a season pass, which is typical. So this one's kind of low just simply because I don't have time with it, but it doesn't mean I dislike the game. So up next is Marvel Battle Lines. Now, Marvel Battle Lines is maybe a game that you haven't really heard of. It was a card game from Marvel, and apparently there's been other Marvel card games, but you can't get them anymore. I think they're dead, even though you can find them on some alternative Android stores. But Marvel Battle Lines existed for a little while. It was by Nexon, which, as you may know, is popular for Vindictus and a couple other games. It died in January, and it was actually kind of fun because it was the most thinking man Marvel game, I think, since Avengers Alliance 1 and 2, because it was a card game that was also a bit like a Connect 4 or Tic-Tac-Toe. You had these decks that you could build from a roster, and then you took them out on a field and you placed them to either get diagonals or 3 across or 4 down or diagonals, and then it would activate the ability. It was a fun game, and if you were the type of person who liked collecting cards, like you're a Hearthstone player, a Magic the Gathering player, you probably would have liked this, especially if you missed the boat on any other Marvel card games. With the rise of Hearthstone and Riot trying to compete with them, with Legends of Runeterra and Auto Chess and everything, I think we could have a wealth of Marvel games similar to this if somebody just wants to grab their sack and get adventurous. If they're is a Netmarble or a Nexon or a NetEase or a Kabam, um, who just wants to continue doing interesting things with the Marvel IP, we could potentially see some very interesting Marvel games. And yes, we've got Marvel Future Revolution and Realm of Champions coming. Future Revolution, I'm really looking forward to the Marvel Avengers game from Crystal Dynamics, which are the people who've done Lara Croft and Tomb Raider. Uh, it could it could be fun. I mean, you could definitely have like an auto chess or an auto battler, a lane thing going on with Marvel games where maybe have some grunts like Hydra grunts and aim grunts, and then main characters costing more. Maybe suit variants like here's a 4 cost Iron Man, but here's a 5 cost Iron Man because it's the stealth suit or the Starjammer suit or something like that. I think somebody just needs to put it together and just take a risk. And now's a good time to try a lot of these things because you have people who are so entrenched in a particular genre like Blizzard with Hearthstone. They're now starting to see some competition. And Riot specifically is kind of gunning for Blizzard in a couple of games, so could be really interesting. Up next, Marvel Avengers Alliance 2. Some people are probably going to light the torches and jab the pitchforks into my front door for me putting this as high as I did. But I don't believe that this game killed Marvel Avengers Alliance. We found out in a recent video that I put out that Playdom's dev did say there were people who shifted from Marvel Avengers Alliance 1 to Marvel Avengers Alliance 2. I don't consider that blame. They never said things like, hey, we prioritized Marvel Avengers Alliance 2, so we were pulling off our good artists and our good script writers and everything like that. The dev didn't say that, but he did say that some people were shifted over. But I don't hold that against Marvel Avengers Alliance 2. I liked it. I thought the graphics were great for a mobile game. I mean, these graphics, look at these. These are pretty. Marvel Avengers Alliance in 2016, March 30 of 2016, as you see here, it had aged a little bit. You know, it was just a slightly older engine. It was Flash. This was actually iOS and Android, and I think even the Windows Store, but it was just a tiny bit prettier. And you got to see things, characters like you've never seen before, like Tiger Shark. Like, who had really ever heard of Tiger Shark before? And it was one of the villains in here, and we got to deal with some heroes in a little bit of a different way that we didn't in Marvel Avengers Alliance, like a Yellow Jacket Hank Pym. Wasp was an absolute beast in this game because she was so evasive. I mean, she was everywhere in PvP. So I do mourn the loss of Marvel Avengers Alliance 2, simply because it was another Avengers Alliance game, and yes, there was no agent. We know that. We've beaten that horse to death. That one of the things that was so bad about this game is that they didn't have the agent, and I don't think we fully 100% at the time understood how incredibly inventive Playdom was with the agent in Marvel Avengers Alliance. And my ultimate hope is that Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux continues to heavily favor the agent with inventing new guns and new gear and new Spec Ops suits. And I can tell you, the team has. I've even invented a gun that hopefully will get used sometime in Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux Cycle. It is an homage to the fact that the Playdom devs really liked a particular game, and they were making some gear around an outside game that they were playing at the time. So I invented a gun for a particular Spec Ops that maybe will get used. We'll see. But I do, yeah, I miss Marvel Avengers Alliance 2, and I never am going to blame it for the death of Marvel Avengers Alliance 1. The death of Marvel Avengers Alliance 1 was Disney, plain and simple. They pulled back their licensing, and that's really where it came into play. Now, not mobile, but also not AAA, Marvel Heroes. I really do miss Marvel Heroes. By the end, I had so many characters, even if they weren't really leveled. I had a good Kitty Pryde. I had a great Magic, a great Ultron, a pretty good Emma Frost, and a Cyclops. I'm cycling through the characters here. This is when the announcement came through that Disney was shutting down Marvel Heroes. This, as you can see, was part of the fallout from what hit Marvel Avengers Alliance. Now, this is a year later, a year and change. As you can see, this is November 16 of 2017, so it survived longer. Unfortunately, this game bit it too. They tried to break into consoles. It didn't do well when it hit the consoles. PC felt abandoned. It felt like they were throwing their eggs in the basket of Marvel Heroes Omega, which was the console version, and a lot of the PC players are like, guys, where's our updates? We didn't know at the time that we were facing the extinction of the game. PC was unfortunately abandoned, and there was just a point where nothing new was coming out. But the game was phenomenal for costumes. They had team-ups, which some of the team-ups I wish were actual playable characters, but they had just a ton of costumes and skins in this game. Now, some of them honestly really should have been their separate character. Like, there was a suit for Venom that turned him into Anti-Venom, and us Marvel Avengers Alliance vets obviously know Anti-Venom is a completely separate character, and he shouldn't just be a skin for Venom. But yeah, this was another one that was it. I was sad that it left. It was just a good, simple Diablo-style clone. Unfortunately, the head of Gazillion at the time was embroiled in some sexual harassment claims. And that could have been one of the reasons why Disney was like, nope. No. We don't want to be associated with a company that is helmed by a person like you. And fast forward a year or two later, and you saw Riot going through the same thing with the big boss who likes to quote-unquote dick tap people and fart on them. And yeah, Riot is known for being quite a sexist workplace at the moment, so it's a big deal in gaming when stuff like this happens. You kind of can't fault Disney for wanting to distance themselves from this. And of course, they were also pulling in a lot of their licensed games at the time, so it wasn't all because of the Gazillion guy, but I'm sure that had a factor in it. Up next, I'm going to say this is a little bit of a tie here, and that is Marvel Future Fight and Marvel Strikeforce. I kind of think they're at about a tie, mostly because Marvel Future Fight has grown to be a little bit greedier over the years, and Marvel Strikeforce is kind of smoothing out a little bit. Future Fight is what you see on the screen here. This is way back in the day. This is August of 2017, so we're going on nearly 3 years old at this point, and you can see the new exclusive character at the time was Chonky Agent Venom. A way better representation of Agent Venom than we got in Marvel Avengers Alliance, in my opinion. That PvP season where we were earning Agent Venom, my girlfriend at the time was like, ooh, you gotta get him, he's Haas. Yeah, well, he wasn't very Haas. He was not Haas, in my opinion, but Future Fight kind of kept the Marvel fires alive at the time when we knew we were losing Marvel Avengers Alliance. A lot of people were like, okay, well, I guess Future Fight is where it's going to be. And I think a lot of people they kind of gradually shifted to it because it was a Marvel IP, even though it was a very different game type. I think if people wanted the same game type, they would go over to like DC Legends, but if they wanted the Marvel IP, they were coming over here to Future Fight. I'm thoroughly entrenched in this game. I touch this game once a day. However, it is the Marvel game that gets the least of my attention right now. A lot of times I kind of go in, I do my Alliance battle, which is something I have to do, and I dip. But there's a lot of stuff that I'm going through still. I'm still doing world bosses, kind of trying to proceed through the new story mode, which I sort of kind of resent the fact that they did a big reset of story mode. If you had completed everything in the game, you sort of have to go through it all again to get the new uniforms and whatnot. But okay, and some of them actually get tough. They're kind of challenging. They are no sleepwalk whatsoever. But Marvel Future Fight and Marvel Strikeforce are a bit of a tie for me. It's tough for me to say which one of these two I think I like a little bit more, because they're two very different games. Strikeforce is more classically RPG-ish with the turn-based battles and everything like that. However, Fox Next has had their share of controversy. I mean, they've been boycotted a couple times, but so is Netmarble with Future Fight. This game is incredibly expensive. You can spend a lot of money in this game, and it constantly tugs at your wallet, and sometimes when it grabs your wallet, literally like 2 or 3 hours later, there's something that you would have wanted to purchase more, and you're like, oh damn. Because I'm not a whale in this particular game. I kind of consider myself a dolphin. I do my purchases when I think something's really interesting. But there is a really good event going on now. The Second Strike event is fabulous. And I think it is one of the ways that they're kind of giving back to the community at its 2-year anniversary. But it remains to be seen how often this generosity comes up. So this is what Strikeforce looked for me way back in December of 2018. It's kind of hard to imagine that this game has been around that long. So finally, my favorite of the Marvel Avengers, or the Marvel games that I've played, obviously, is Avengers Alliance. What you see on the screen here is a team that I invented way back in 2014 called Team Technical Type Activities, which was a riff on Yogi Bear with bear type activities. This was, I think, my love and respect for this game just deepened as the game wore on, and I never got tired of it. Although sometimes I got tired of like back-to-back PvP seasons. It's like, give me a fucking break. Just let us breathe a little bit here. Especially when we're having so many of those like PvP beta seasons. But other than the PvP, I mean, the writing was phenomenal. The characters that you got introduced to, whereas Marvel Heroes gave you so many skins that you wanted to look up. You're like, oh, what is this stealth suit from Iron Man, or what is this Guardians of the Galaxy suit? This game just threw characters at you that you're like, what? Like Cammy. I mean, Cammy was legitimately awful, but like, who the hell was Cammy? A lot of people were like, who were the Runaways? And now, to me, Molly Hayes is probably my favorite Marvel character in a game ever. And there's reasons for that. She reminds me very much of somebody who's sitting next to me playing Destiny 2. Drinks coffee and goes to sleep. And has fun with rage. But the depth of customization in this game is just so amazing that one person's agent was going to be so different from the next. And on that screen, there's an Emma Frost there. There's a Captain Marvel there. Even if we wanted to say those are the uniforms, even from that 2 uniforms there, I could run into somebody else who has the exact same characters and the exact same uniforms, and they're still going to be kitted out differently. It's literally MMO levels of, well, old for World of Warcraft, old levels of MMO talent trees, and the gear on the agent and what you can do with them. I mean, I know right off the bat that's the Asgardian Tankard. I know that's the Vibra Crescent. I know that's the Neurotrope. And then that's the Tactical Enhancer or Tactician Enhancer. This was back when you could abuse the Asgardian Tankard for giving other people... See competence right there? That's grant the target class their buff. That was before you had the ability to activate it later on in the leveling and the suits and everything. Has no effect on generals, obviously. But just the depth of the manipulation that you could do with your teams in PvP and PvE and draw people together you never would have thought of drawing together, or make it like a Y where Hero 1 is the left fork and Hero 2 is the right fork, and your agent pulls them together by the gear that the agent is running. This game, I'm so glad there's a team working on bringing this game back, because the world deserves to still have this game here. Of all the ones on the list that are still alive or dead, aside from just maybe a little bit Marvel Heroes behind this, this is a game that even in its 4 years, I still feel died too soon. We need this game back, and I think a lot of us need this game really in their lives. And even if we got the game back in this state that you saw here, that you could re-earn all this gear, if we made it so that the gear was earnable, that it wasn't a time-limited thing like, okay, well, that lockbox is expired, what am I going to do? Or that Spec Ops is expired, how am I ever going to get an Asgardian Tankard again if that Spec Ops is gone? Even if we just modified the core gameplay to give you the suits and the gear and the ISOs that you couldn't get past a certain point, that still, I think, would do us so well. But the fact that there is a team dedicated to growing this from the point at which the game died, and not just modifying it to make everything available, but grow it further with new characters and new stories and new plots and new gear, hopefully new suits and everything. It's amazing, and it shows you the testament of caring that people have for this game. Who's trying to redo Marvel Heroes? I can't say that I know that. Who's trying to bring back Marvel Avengers Alliance 2? You people who come to my comment section and kick and yell and scream about mobile versions, that's the only people that I know who want it back. Not that, I mean, if somebody brought it back, I'd be happy, don't get me wrong, but nobody's trying to code it. Nobody's trying to bring it back. Nobody's trying to bring back Marvel Battle Lines or Marvel Heroes or Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics. Nobody's really trying to bring those games back because they just don't have the impact that this game does from just a 4-year run. And I'm really, really thrilled for what you're going to see on Thursday to bring it back full circle to what I said at the beginning of the video. So to me, my absolute most favorite Marvel non-AAA game is obviously Avengers Alliance. My two most hated are going to be Contest of Champions and Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics. So let me know what you think. Reorder my list down in the comments below if you want. If you want to tie in some of the other games that I haven't touched, like Puzzle Quest or Avengers Academy, or Marvel Tiny Toons as I like to call it, or if you played any of those card games on mobile when they were around, reorder the list, put it down in the comments below. I really want to hear about it, and let me know about the Marvel Avenger or the Marvel games coming up that you're super interested in. And yeah, we'll put the Marvel Avengers Alliance PlayStation game on that list there. That is going to be AAA, but I think there's so much anxiety for when that's going to come out. And it's not all good because they started off with Black Widow looking like Duke Nukem. It's getting better, but yeah, I'm still very hesitant to pre-order that one, even if I do get a beta access. So there it is, guys. Tune in to the channel on Thursday and have some great reveals for Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux, and let me know what you think about my order. Peace out, everybody.